Stay. Good. Stay. Hi, it's Nicole from the Packway Dog Training. And this is Cypress. He is my 6-year-old German Shepherd. Come here, Cypress. This is my 6-year-old German Shepherd, and he's kind of my pride and joy. He was socialized a lot as a baby, and I know how important socialization is. So yeah, so thank you. And today I want to talk about some recent phone calls I've had from some people. They've adopted puppies just before COVID-19 hit. And now there's a lot of concern about, like, my puppy hasn't met another dog and isn't meeting any other dogs. So it's definitely a valid concern, for sure. We know that the critical, sit, Cypress, sit, good boy. We know that the critical socialization period is really from like 3 weeks to 16 weeks. So it's really kind of cutting into that time period. So I understand definitely the concern regarding socialization. However, the important thing to remember is that even though we are missing out on the critical socialization period, which is really important right now for the safety of, of our livelihood, of our lives, and of the loved ones around us due to COVID-19, it's not like it's a done deal. I got a call from someone with a shepherd, and they were basically really concerned about the lack of socialization that their puppy was going to get right now, and that maybe their dog would turn out to be like this really aggressive dog later on, And it doesn't have to turn out like that. The biggest thing to remember is that your dog is following you in this world. So your dog is kind of going where you are going. And your dog is going to kind of do what you're doing. So, for example, if you haven't had a chance to socialize your puppy, you're going to want to do some things like, do some startle response activities. Do some startle response activities. See if you can get see if your puppy's nervous or timid. Does your puppy tend to be a little reticent, a little bit afraid of things? If so, you're going to want to do some things like, if your puppy's afraid of things, you're going to want to do some things like some confidence building. So things like maybe setting up a little agility course in your backyard and see if is your puppy hesitant to follow you? Are they nervous? Some of the things you want to think about is how confident is your puppy? Is your puppy following you kind of throughout the world readily, or is your puppy nervous? How does your puppy respond to sounds? Like if a neighbor slams their car door, is your puppy nervous? And in those sort of circumstances, we already have something we can start working on. You can start working on those little things so that when your dog goes out into the social world, you already have a great relationship of trust. A lot of the times someone will come to me with a nervous dog who's nervous and afraid of people or isn't good with people, is either reactive or aggressive. And a lot of times what happens is the dog is actually already afraid of like recycling bins and things like that. So we want to build some confidence around those items. So what would you do in that circumstance? Well, if your dog is nervous, you want to walk your dog into it confidently and be confident and relaxed. So if you're hesitant, you're kind of watching your dog and you're looking at your dog a lot, you're sending a message of kind of like insecurity. So as a horseback rider for many years, one of the things that I was taught was you have to kind of drive a horse through a puddle. So if your horse is nervous of water and doesn't want to go through a puddle, if you stand there and you clamp up and you get nervous, your horse won't go. So instead you want to kind of rise up, you want to be confident, you want to put your leg on, release the rein as soon as your horse starts going. So it's the same sort of concept with a dog, is that, like if your dog becomes nervous of a sound, and you want to teach your puppy how to follow you in the world. So you want to do some things like, some games, like you can do some things like startle response exercises. One of the things we do as a breeder. So that's where we create a sound that might scare a dog, and the dog might run away and it might retreat, what we want to do is invite them in to kind of explore and investigate. So we create curious, outgoing sort of puppies. So this is something that you can kind of do with your dog, is you can kind of look at the world as kind of like an investigation. We're going to go out together, and together we're going to explore. So for example, if your neighbor, observe what's going on. Like if your neighbor drops off the recycling bins and your puppy spooks and is nervous, okay, that might be somewhat normal. But do they come back in and explore it and investigate it? So we want to bring our puppy back in. Our dogs respond a lot to our body language and how we kind of present ourselves. So we move in kind of confidently, kind of investigate, kind of be curious about what's going on. You're going to create a socially really a puppy that has got a lot of resilience, and that can and a puppy that's got resilience and likes to explore and likes to investigate things. If you see a dog walking across the street, how does your puppy react? Nervous, retreating, or confident and kind of curious, right? So that's one of the things we can start doing. We can start encouraging investigation. So if your puppy's nose is kind of smelling the air, kind of, who's that? What's that? You want to be, you can praise that. You can come and give their ear a little massage, let them know that's good. That's what you want. That's a social dog. If your puppy's starting to show some concern, your puppy might hold back, might be nervous, might not move in to investigate. Or if you have a dog that's maybe going to become reactive, they might start stepping in front of you. And they might start getting a little bit guardy and a little bit more nervous, in which case you want to come in front of and step in front of them and let them know that they don't have to take on that role. So first of all, don't panic. Do not panic. We are going to get through this together. There's so many talented dog trainers out there. There's no reason to ever panic. There's always someone to call or always someone to ask a question. Dogs are domesticated. They have been living with humans for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it is not against their nature. So even if you have a puppy who comes out of this, and let's say you take them to the vet and they get their next set of shot and all of a sudden they growl. It might seem worried, but it doesn't have to be a dead end road. We can definitely work on that. We can definitely kind of get them to we can definitely work on that. We can definitely kind of fix that and figure out how we're going to kind of adapt to that. We're going to create so once again, to reiterate, we're going to create some confident, socially adjusted puppies by right now doing lots of work to encourage an investigative, curious puppy. We can create an agility course in our yard and have our dog climbing up things, have our dog going up on top of little structures that you've made or jumping over little things. Be careful of their hips. We can have them doing some startle response activities where we make loud sounds. Maybe someone clashes a couple of pots and pans, or you play some thunderstorm music. See how your dog responds. See if you can build in some self-confidence. Practice your walking. Build self-confidence on the walk. Lead. Give your dog somebody to follow. Be confident. Be in control. Show the dog that you are worthy of that type of relationship and that they feel they can trust you to guide them and put them in situations that they're safe. And they can't trust you no matter where they are if you act not confident, if you act unsure, if you're nervous about what they're going to do. So take a deep breath. It's going to be totally fine. We're going to figure all this out together. And even though we've missed that critical social period, we will have some social dogs at the end. I know there's going to be some problems. I know we're going to be busy. But it's not something that we cannot do. So Cypress was socialized with people a lot as a puppy. I took him absolutely everywhere. And he was a really, really social dog. But some dogs aren't going to have the same benefit of that, and that's too bad. But we can fix it. It's not a dead-end road. So one of the things that we can do is, for example, I have a dog, my Vietnamese boy, Congo. He's quite a gem. When he came to me, he was really, really feral. And he was a young guy, and he had no socialization. He came straight from Vietnam, straight from, they were breeding champion dogs on this farm, and he didn't get a lot of social contact with humans. And it wasn't that he didn't like humans, but it was, after 40 minutes of meeting him, I couldn't touch him. I got one finger on him and then he shied away. So, and he was on a leash at that time. So when I got him, I actually was really, really busy. And I just did some exercises, I did some drills, I did some, worked with him on a leash. And I worked with him desensitizing the hands and all things. Anyways, I went into a grocery store, and I was hanging out at a grocery store like literally 3 weeks after he had 3 weeks after I had got him. I went into a grocery store, and when I went into the grocery store, I was floored. I was working outside the grocery store, and I was letting people come up to him, and I was like not sure how he's going to be, but I was confident, and I knew he wasn't aggressive, and I was blown away that he was letting people pet him and touch him, and he was being so social and so friendly and so sweet. So I'm here to say that, what you do and how you act at home transfers into how the dog sees you and how the dog lets you lead him. Something that I did there created confidence and created a dog that already felt he could trust me. And he was building self-confidence versus before he was shutting down. So it's something that we can definitely work on. If you have any questions, feel free to send me. I'd love to chat. I really miss dog training. I can't wait to get back out there. So thank you very much.